It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Mike.
And this week we got our official director for Spider-Man 4 after theories for years, it feels like, Mike. We finally got some confirmation.
The movie's happening, folks.
It is. And I assume we'll get some more news sooner than later, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Venom, the newest trailer, delivers us the God of Symbiotes, and I bet you're going to have some questions for me. I think I'm going to have to answer some Mike questions.
I do have a few, but I do have to say some algorithmic-driven information has made it my way before your hand-tailored information. So I feel like I know a little bit about this, but I'd love to hear from you directly.
You're in the zeitgeist, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Joker's 2's opening numbers are no laughing matter, and this is not good news. But we'll
is this you reading from your little sheet of jokes in front of everyone on stage with that pun of yours?
Yeah, exactly. And right before I shoot the host, just like the Joker first movie did. And more, Mike. We are in mid-September? We are mid-September today, and that's important because we are it's not officially fall, right? That's around the corner here, but we had some fall weather here Friday. My wife went and saw Beetlejuice with her friends. The girls, they went to the drive-in theater to watch Beetlejuice. I was very, very happy for them. Very fall-y, very getting into spooky season. But you sent me, I don't know how much you bought, but you sent me a line of candy photos, essentially, of everything that you saw at Target. And I want you to kind of go through this, what you got, what you were looking at here, what you're trying to get.
Yeah, I went a little crazy. So back before I became a father, I had something more akin to patience. And I would not let myself indulge in things like candy corn until the official month of October. But we were at Target the other week, and I'm just like, why am I waiting for joy? I need as much joy and encouragement in my life right now. So
I love this change. I love this change the child has brought on you. You're like, I want it. I want it now.
Yeah, so we basically went up and down the aisles at Target, and I was snagging everything. Of course, I got the original OG candy corn, and do not believe the fake news out there, folks, that nobody likes candy corn. Because if that was truly the case, they wouldn't make it every single year. And I think I go on a similar rant every year on this podcast. Candy corn is basically just nougat. And nougat is in every candy bar that you love out there. It's just in a slightly different shape, slightly different texture. Throw some salted peanuts in your mouth with it. You're basically like halfway to a Snickers bar. So I got some candy corn. I got some Nerds flavored candy corn, which I think it's only candy corn in the spirit of its shape, but it tastes good. It's got like this kind of gooey center. It almost like, if you weren't reading the package, you would almost think like, oh, is this like a Sour Patch Kids candy corn? Because it's got like quite a bit of tartness to it. Oh. But highly recommend those. There was a Wednesday Addams Gushers, which we got, which tasty. But the downside to this, now this is something you got to watch out with holiday flavors and treats. It's just one flavor. So every Gusher in your little package is like this blackberry style flavor, which is a great flavor. I love it. But I like variety in my Gushers.
It's also a year and a half
that's what I was
wondering,
too.
So
I was like,
how long have they been holding on to these to get them out here?
Yeah, it could be like a strategic pull of like, well, technically, who knows when somebody, explores this on Netflix, and we got some Jenna Ortega, cross synergy with Beetlejuice. Yeah. Beetlejuice being out, so maybe that's kind of the angle they're going for.
And this is where I get to tell everyone the Fanta Haunted Apple Beetlejuice flavor is awful. Don't get it. It is, again, I think I've said it before. It is one of the worst flavors I've ever had of sodas, and We got a 12-pack because we didn't know, obviously limited edition. You're like, are we gonna see it? Are they gonna have like 5 out or whatever? No, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, so can't recommend that. But Mike, continue. Sorry to interrupt. But there are bad Halloween flavors.
A good recommendation if you want a Halloween flavor, that is, as far as I can tell, year round, depending, is the Alani Witch's Brew. I know you have sung its praises.
It is not year round. It is seasonal, actually.
But I feel like it has a really big tailwind. I feel like I can find it like in January, and it hits the shelves like really early. So it seems like there's just a couple months it's not around. At least, I'm not usually hunting for it.
Yeah, as someone who drinks them pretty much daily, not the Witch's Brew, but the Alani's, they do make a bunch, and then they don't all sell out, and then they kind of linger, but they do disappear for a while. I like them because I like they're a little tart, right? Like they're a tart apple flavor, and I like that tartness in my energy drink.
And a whole lot of caffeine too. Yeah. So that's where the comparison kind of stops. If you're looking at Beetlejuice Fanta, I don't even know if Fanta has caffeine in it at all. Actually, now that I think about it, even if it did, it was quite bad. Reach an energy drink level.
I'm sitting here like I feel sick thinking about it. Just so.
But since we're talking about drinks, the Coca-Cola Oreo collaboration finally dropped. I think you got your hands on the cookies themselves. We both got our hands on the soda flavor.
Yes.
So you could probably tell me more directly if the Oreos are supposed to taste like soda. But all I know is the soda is trying to taste like an Oreo.
Yeah, so I will say, I think we've talked about the soda. And I think we can talk about that first because, to me, I have hints of vanilla Coke in mind, and you mentioned cocoa, and I do not eat chocolate at all. Very minimal. I'll test the flavors, but I avoid it like the plague if I had to choose things out there. So I think it kind of has like a vanilla Coke thing. I kind of enjoy this little limited flavor for the Coke Zero, Mike. And you said, what do you think you had a little bit more?
I mean, else? I've never been a chocolate beverage person. I mean, outside of like the classic chocolate milk or hot chocolate, like I've never been like a Yoo-hoo guy or anything like that. Any sort of like, carbonated chocolate, it just doesn't sit quite right with me. So luckily I just bought the 6-pack of the little cans. So I probably really won't be reaching for them much anymore. But my wife liked them. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, you can have the rest of these cans. But I did have a cool idea of what if I made like a Coke float with it? Because it's kind of already vibing off of some of those flavors. I just got to throw some ice cream in there. I think that could be a pretty solid idea.
Chip ice cream. Like what if you had like or an Oreo ice cream? Duh, because it's Oreo Coke.
Hey, there you go.
But I did get the cookies, the Oreo cookies. So they are 1/2 red cookie and 1/2 black cookie. And I think the red's a vanilla cookie, and it's flavored. It's very interesting because I tell people, do you remember the hard candy called bottle caps? They're kind of chalky and pasty. The one that tastes like cola is what these Oreos taste like. So they are trying for a cola flavor, but they're really, to me, missing the mark and hitting the bad cola flavor. My wife loves Oreos. She will. That's one of her favorite. That and double stuff elf fudge cookies. My God, those are always guaranteed.
Oh, those are good. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah. But she was like, I will not be eating any more of these Oreos after she had one of them. I was like, I understand that. So I think it's a fun flavor. I think it actually, for me, from all of Coke's offerings, I think this is like one of the most interesting flavors overall. So I enjoy it, but like I said, I'm glad it's a limited time and not a permanent flavor, right? Like, was it the Coke Spice they made permanent? And I don't see anyone ever drinking that, hardly ever at all. And have you got your chance on the Voodoo yet?
No, haven't seen it out here in my area, but that is it's on the list. Lots of things on the list. Still hunting for the pecan Snickers, which I'm starting to see more people on social media talking about those. Still looking for the Welch's grape ghost can.
You think I was a preacher for that flavor? Because I tell everyone, like, if you see this anywhere, you tell me immediately.
It's just and the funny thing is like we talk about snacks on the show every once in a while. It always comes down to the thrill of the hunt for me. It's just exciting seeing it on the shelf. I don't even care anymore if this stuff tastes good, and usually it doesn't. Like a lot, it seems like, at least with my American palate that I've refined over the last 30 plus years, I feel like I've found the stuff that I like most of the time, at least with like sweets and treats. I've found everything that I like already. You know, it's kind of hard to make a Snickers better. And they've made other ones. Like, I'm not a big fan of like the peanut butter Snickers. My wife loves it because she's a big fan of peanut butter. But I'm just like, I think I'd rather just have a Snickers.
Is there
so
almond
I feel like the
ones?
pecan Snickers.
Is there almond?
Yeah,
Snickers?
there's an almond one
real?
too.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's like luck. I think I might be lucky with the pecan because all you're doing is like nut swapping.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Phrases out phrasing.
is like a pecan is like a very dessert friendly nut.
Yeah.
So I'm hunting for that, and I feel like there's one other thing that I can't recall off the top of my head. Oh, probably those like deep dish Lays. There's like
I
think a chip or two out there.
I literally just opened up the deep dish Lays today, Mike. They are fantastic. I think you'll really like them. And then the ultimate cheddar Doritos.
Oh, are you a fan of pizza Pringles?
I haven't had any in forever. I'd have to go.
I was just wondering if it was similar to those to the deep dish.
It feels like it's got a light barbecue, like it's like Lace. You start with the barbecue Lace is what it feels like, and then start adding the pizza flavor to it. But it does have again a Chicago style pizza flavor to it. I don't know how to explain that, but it does somehow. So I don't think it would taste like the Pringles. No, the regular pizza Pringles. I'm a big fan of pizza. What's it on that Bugles? Pizza combos. It's nothing like that. If that's what you're thinking.
Oh, okay. Those are good. There's a I don't remember the brand. I think maybe the brand name is just called Kettle. Like, I don't know if they got a trademark
chips,
on the word Kettle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a Kettle chip flavor that I've seen. It's like a pimento cheese flavor.
Whoa.
I believe it's kind of cross promoting with football. So I've been looking out for that one. The bag is orange. So if you're going down the chip aisle, look at that brand. Just start looking at the orange bags and see if you can find the pimento cheese.
The tailgate edition Kettle brand pimento cheese. spicy pimento cheese even. Hell yeah. I love like a spicy, like a grilled pimento cheese sandwich at like a Mediterranean joint. I just can eat that up.
See, and this is what we do. Like we always say, we're gonna have a spin-off podcast about snacks, and who knows? Maybe one day it'll happen. Yeah. Maybe not the best time with a newborn, but we did make it to Trader Joe's and indulged in a few fall flavored treats. If anybody out there has issues with gluten, Trader Joe's rotates seasonally through like deliciously moist. Gluten-free muffins. If you gave someone these muffins blind, there's no way they would be able to identify that they're gluten-free. So sometimes they'll have blueberries, sometimes they'll have chocolate. They have like a pumpkin one out right now. Delicious, amazing. I would highly recommend those. And Chris, I don't know if you're familiar with this. The best way I could describe it is like Korean sushi. It's called like kimbap. It really just kind of, I don't really know how to describe it outside of, to me it just looks like sushi. I don't really know what the cultural historic significance of kimbap is, but they're making them frozen now, and they're like selling them, and like it's like a hot sushi, which is kind of like another hard thing to describe. But they have them at Trader Joe's. You like just peel off the corner, microwave it for like 2 minutes. It's a really nice treat. So if you see kimbap out in the world anywhere, whether it's at Trader Joe's or I think I've seen them at other grocery stores too.
Yeah, no,
recommend kimbap.
I hadn't seen
we're kind of moving past just like snack area and into like more meals. I think it's on my mind.
You overshot the Halloween Kit Kats, which are Ghost Toast as well, which are like a cinnamon
toast.
Oh yeah,
crunch. I did grab
Kit Kats,
those.
and I love. You nailed it. I love them. They taste like cinnamon toast crunch. And we've got
I bit right into it, and I was like, this is for Chris, because Kit Kat has extracted the chocolate from this and has switched over to a white chocolate. Yeah. It's got the cinnamon going on. He's gonna dig this. I bought a whole. I bought a whole mini bag of them, which is a little overkill just for me. That I learned just recently that they do sell them in like singular bars, but I haven't seen them anywhere yet, so I kind of had to go for a bigger bag.
They're very churro adjacent, churro Kit Kat adjacent. So big fan of those. Huge fan of those. And I think the other thing, if we're talking snacks, one thing I indulge every once in a while, not frequently, but Uncrustables. And one of the new Uncrustables flavors is raspberry jam coming out. That's a seasonal flavor.
Love that.
So I'm excited to try that out because nothing's like, in the day I'm like, I'm not really hungry enough to eat like real food, but I'm like, I need something with sustenance. I'm gonna eat an Uncrustable. Absolutely. The inner kid in me loves that.
Yeah, don't be wary out there, snack folks. Just because something has changed color doesn't always mean it's changed flavor. There's these Halloween candy bags of like Twix and Snickers that have like a green core on the inside, which I think is cool. I think it's fun. Yep. And I would love that if I received it as a kid in my trick-or-treat pail. But it's the same flavor. It's just some additional dye.
Like green ketchup.
So not quite my... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
this is nice.
Scary. Yeah,
this is a nice little snack corner. I love this.
I do. I'm big on food. Like I said, I'm gonna break into those ultimate cheddar spooky flavored Doritos. I don't know why they're spooky flavored. This ultimate cheddar. And then there was another bag I had upstairs. I've got 3 bags of chips I haven't broken into because I'm like, I can't eat these until I finish the other flavors. So huge fan of comfort foods as we go through fall here. But I'm going to go ahead and, Mike, if you don't care, I want to jump into the thing I got to see yesterday, and that was Transformers 1 at the theater. Actually, it was a early screening fan thing because it comes out later this week. I think officially on Friday the 20th, and I was able to snag 2 tickets for my wife and I to go see it. And I don't know how much of a Transformers fan you are, Mike, whether that be Michael Bay, original animated stuff, I'm Beast Wars even. I don't know what your propensity for Transformers is on a scale of 1 to 10. But
we usually, I feel like our barometer when we talk about this stuff sometimes is like, we're kind of like, at least I would say maybe like a 5 out of 10, like on the scale with Ghostbusters. I feel like Ghostbusters pops up a lot on this show. I would say I'm above Ghostbusters with Transformers, but maybe not by a whole lot.
Yeah, okay, perfect. My wife is less than that, obviously. I think she's seen the Michael Bay movies, but I don't think she could tell you anything about them. And I'm like, perfect. That works out great for this because it does. It pulls from some deep lore in Transformers on Cybertron, but it is a beautifully animated, beautiful story about friends and loss and how friendships change. And I would say I've been really drawing a parallel to this between kind of like it's just like a hair below into the first Spider-Verse movie, Mike, in terms of like how good this story is and how well it tells it. Like you look at it, the trailers do this no justice. You're like, oh, this is just a Transformers movie for kids with some crass jokes. Absolutely not. There are some jokes in there. Obviously, he's got Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, who is very, very breaks attention with the mood. But Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry as Optimus. I guess not even Optimus in the movie. He is Orion Pax, which was Optimus's name before he was Optimus Prime, and then D-167, which was Megatron's name before he was Megatron. And it kind of goes through this, the class hierarchy system of Transformers and what does it mean to be a Transformer. And I really enjoy it. I can't recommend this movie enough. I know some people may not need to rush out to the theaters to see this, but your kids will enjoy it. And I think people who are into Transformers will enjoy it as well. My wife, not a Transformers person, still had a good time. Didn't know the history, but still was able to kind of get through it, the story as well. I really enjoy this movie, Mike. It's hard to say without spoiling things, but like it tells you how Orion Pax becomes Optimus Prime and how D-167 or whatever his name is, called D, becomes Megatron, and it feels like a natural progression for the character. So for those who
it makes you wonder if something like it that can break through, like you were just saying, visually it doesn't seem like something I would say an adult would want to go see, which I'm not trying to be patronizing, but you drew a comparison to Spider-Verse, Spider-Verse had the amazing advantage of it's a Spider-Man movie. You know, everybody loves Spider-Man. Like Transformers, that has ebbed and flowed over the years.
It might grab in a lot of G1 watchers, like people who enjoyed the original Transformers, who have kids now, right, in their 30s and 40s, and take their kids to go see it, or just go see it on their own. I think there's a lot of classic Transformers stuff in here. There's no Beast Wars, sadly. Nothing for me, or nothing even remotely Michael Bay related. Thank God. So, but it is a pretty contained story. It's an hour 40, so like you're not in there forever either. Like that's the best part. Like they don't, there's no wasted time in the story and the characters, and it just moves right along. And it's crazy to hear again, Chris Hemsworth, who we all know as Thor. It has his voice evolves throughout the thing, because obviously you've seen the trailers that they can't transform and then they can transform and so on and so forth. So you hear like his voice has essentially become closer to Peter Cullen's as the movie progresses, as well as he, I guess, matures, if you would, in the movie. So really, really good time. I hope when it hits home theater, I know you probably won't be able to see it, Mike, but when it hits home theaters or home access, you get a chance to watch it. So really good time for that. I will say there were a lot of kids there. The parents got their kids some fan tickets, so kids were having a great time with that. All right, let's shift into some news here. I just grabbed this right before we started recording. Deadpool Wolverine update, box office update. It's currently at $620 million domestically, and if it gets $3 more million in the U.S., it could pass Avengers to become the 5th highest grossing comic book movie in America.
I think it could manage to muster up $3 million. That's kind of chump change when it comes to tentpole movies like this, but I think it's going to do it.
Yeah, it was number 3 this weekend at the box office, behind was it Beetlejuice and Speak No Evil? I think the R-rated movie with James McAvoy in it, and then it's currently at 1.3 billion internationally. And only needs 30 more million to pass Black Panther's 1.33 billion internationally, worldwide. So this movie is just literally raking in the dollar still, hand over fist for Disney and Marvel, and just thrilled to hear that. It did make I was pulling up our website, the numbers, right. It did pull in 5 million. This past weekend, so I think it can make the 3 million by next weekend. Or, I don't think Marvel would do it, but maybe they would push it a little harder. Like, hey, we're re-releasing it with extra footage or something, like an extra intro or outro kind of thing to get people back in the theaters.
I mean, it is Deadpool. I could see them doing just some silly marketing. When the Oscars come around, a for-your consideration campaign that is not going to win anything. I mean, they could angle for like maybe costume or visual effects for sure, but they would just mainly be doing it just for the fun of it, just the virality.
Yeah, they had the super duper cut for Deadpool 2, Deadpool 1. Well, Deadpool 2, the super duper cut, and they also had the PG cut as well with Fred Savage. That he kidnapped. So they are known to do different versions of that, but that was also under Fox rather than Marvel. Marvel tends to avoid the extra ultimate editions or director's cuts. Asterisk Spider-Man, but again, that's a Sony movie rather than a Marvel movie. But that's cool. I think that's great. I'm excited to hear possibly. I think we'll probably get a Disney Plus release date maybe around after October. Maybe in time for Thanksgiving kind of holidays. So I know Inside Out just hit Disney Plus as well, I think this week on Friday. So we'll probably be on track for that. Moving along, this week also, Agatha All Along, for people who may have forgotten, this show is coming out September 18th. The first 2 episodes will premiere on Disney Plus. And I think they're doing the Tuesday night thing, right? So you could watch it the 17th at like 9 p.m. Eastern. If you wanted to. So that's a great season to get into some spooky episodes. I'm interested to see what they do with this, Mike. I've really tried to not read about the details of the show, so I'm interested to see what they're doing here with this.
Same.
Yes, check that out. Also, I don't know, Mike, Great British Baking Show got a release date.
Hell yeah. I saw that too. I think, if I remember right, the the 24th, I think, is when it lands across the pond, and then I'm sure there'll be a Netflix announcement for like the 27th.
It'll be like that Friday or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who subscribe to ChrisFlix, you can watch it the day and release date, Mike. For those who don't want to wait for Netflix because you've got some extra time on your hands sitting around at home.
Hey, who knows if one of those British people mispronounce another Mexican food ingredient?
Oh yeah.
The internet will go aflame.
Between that and then whenever Prue asked that one lady about her beaver cake that she made, so I see those clips all the time. But I'm very excited. We've got a lot of good fall content coming to us. Those who wait, which is us. X-Men franchise has been getting a lot of love lately, Mike, right? With the X-Men 97, the drop of mutants in the obviously Deadpool Wolverine, but also in other movies. Kelsey Grammer returned as Beast recently at the end of the Marvels, and he has confirmed their quote unquote conversations about returning as Beast due to the reaction online, probably. But I would say he's not gonna return post Secret Wars, right? Like he's probably having a conversation about, hey, how can I show up in this movie? But they're gonna do a clean X-Men wipe whenever Marvel obviously reboots.
Yeah. We've been wrong on this show before with our predictions. We'll freely admit that. But if I had to wager a guess, you were very much right. There needs to be a clean restart. I think the rumors floating around or the possible mutant saga will be kind of what it's called after the multiversal saga ends. There'll be some sort of reset, recast, reboot or whatever, and they're gonna hang it all on top of mutants and the X-Men, which I think makes sense. So yeah, the Kelsey Grammer will be. I mean, I think the only baggage that might come through would just be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, just because that star power is just so hard to beat. But you got to come up with a creative way to kind of keep that thread going through.
In the Secret Wars comic book, the 2015 one. Miles Morales came from the Ultimate Universe. Regular Spider-Man came from the main universe. So they were like, how do we get Miles over there? Well, that he had literally a sandwich in his suit that he'd been saving, and he gave it to Molecule Man. And whenever everything was done and they were rebuilding one universe, he was like, I'm going to keep you around because you gave me a sandwich kind of deal. So I could see them literally being like, okay, we're going to have Wolverine, but also there will be a new Logan or whatever Wolverine for this universe as well, so they could have two at the same time if they wanted to, because Hugh Jackman, obviously you get him for a star power, and then you could have a younger Wolverine as well, right? No one would bat an eye. You're like, yeah, that's fine. But also Kelsey Grammer is he's 70, so by the time Secret Wars comes around in 3 years, he'll be 73. Probably will not want to be doing.
Well, doesn't he? Well, to be honest, it doesn't even really matter with Kelsey Grammer, because based on his visual look at the end of the Marvels, it seems like he was just doing voice. That was like a fully CG character.
Yeah, well, I think he was doing like the dots, the face dots or whatever. But
yeah, that could be.
But I think I don't want to look at a full CGI Beast the whole time, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not saying Nicholas Holt's fuzzy Wolfman look was the best from First Class either. I think there's a mix of the two, but I would love just a new, fresh, class of X-Men to look at and kind of move forward with. Nothing against Kelsey Grammer. I think he was great in X-Men 3 and in his few seconds in the Marvels. Probably Oscar winning, right? I think, if Don Cheadle has anything to say about small roles and getting awards, we could probably get one in there for Kelsey Grammer. But yeah, X-Men, we'll keep you guys posted as more things come around. Shang-Chi, we have a little bit of news here. This is more of a rumor, I guess. This is the old plan that Avengers Kang Dynasty, when it was originally being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, it would have served as the sequel to Shang-Chi based on the 10 rings being multiversal devices. And this was the plan before losing Jonathan Majors and having to really pivot the story into what is now Avengers Doomsday, right? Probably would have been a main character.
Okay.
Would have been cool, right? I think one movie and then put him up there. He did a good job to do that. I still want to know what the 10 rings are, where they came from.
Yes, let us know. The 10 rings, the bangles, these multiversal objects. Will they
that
ladder up to anything?
Well, that was set up for one thing, and that we'll never get to see anything from because we have one bad actor, literally in the middle of this. So I don't know. We'll hear more about it probably as we kind of get closer. I think they might be pivoting the Avengers Doomsday story to more follow the comic books, but I would love to see, Simu Liu, he is down to Marvel, right? He's like, I want to do more. Let's do more. I agree. Let's put him in some more stuff. Despite him having the 10 rings, I think he would be great in like a street level story, like a Defenders, like, again, an Iron Fist kind of thing. But we'll see. So we kind of get closer. But that brings us to the main story point this week. And I think no one expected this, and that's Spider-Man 4. The director has been announced and confirmed to be Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi and the upcoming Wonder Man series. So he was originally, I think maybe he left Avengers 5 because that kept getting delayed the first time, right? During the pandemic era and the rewrites. This was before Jonathan Majors. Wonder Man is like a personal project for him, probably a good faith project. Like, hey, you're willing to play ball. You wanna do something. What do you want to do? Okay, well, we need streaming shows. Pick something. Well, that's kind of going to the wayside after that'll be out. But now he's officially been given Spider-Man, which, to me, Mike, this is great news. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I just rewatched Shang-Chi recently. I had some issues with the third act, but overall, I really liked the film. When the news was announced, I saw some people sharing clips of the scaffolding fight on the side of Fight Club about, I think, halfway through the movie, or maybe it's the end of the first act. Just like it's very dynamic. It feels like the perfect type of sensibility that would work well with Spider-Man moving forward. I think he's a great director.
Yeah, I think he knows, again, as we said, people who know how to play in the Marvel sandbox, right? Can work with the Marvel sandbox. Obviously, Spider-Man is a Sony movie, so he's got to tread that fine line. But you do the good stuff. You get fed bigger projects. And, obviously John Watts has moved on to Star Wars. Well, originally Fantastic Four, and then he was like, I don't want to do Marvel. I want to go do Star Wars. So he's got Skeleton Crew coming out in December. So, I don't think he'd want to come back for anything Spider-Man. That's fine. He did a great job. It's not a household name, but he should be for everything he did for us. And this is cool. So hopefully we get to hear some more story along the way. So here were the rumors. As soon as this was announced, the rumors started flying off the shelf, Mike. Like, it was nobody's business. People were just throwing stuff out here, and I have no idea if any of these have any weight or not. And the biggest rumor is that it will be about Spider-Man fighting a villain in New York City. I think that was a given. I don't think that's very much of a rumor, a stretch of rumor there.
I saw another rumor that said Spider-Man 4 is going to basically function as a Battle World movie, and it'll be like a Battle World version of New York. I'm really curious if this is the case. Like I said, it's just a rumor. It was a random square I saw in my Instagram, right? So who knows if it's even real. Like, I'm curious how these Battle World movies are really even going to function, right? Because you're not taking the humanity out of a movie when you turn it into a Battle World, but you are just kind of separating it entirely from Earth. You're kind of taking your characters away from the planet and putting them just in like a fighting ring, if you will. Well, it's just a very fantastical version. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what's the plot and the story? Because at the end of Spider-Man 3, you kind of have this kind of nice, almost like, hey, this was almost your reintroduction to Spider-Man. Now he's back to boots on the ground and a normal, shiny, highly saturated costume swinging. So, like, that's kind of what I'm prepped to see, right? I'm not really prepped to see Spider-Man on Battle World next time.
So I'm going to go ahead and I want to dispel any myth here. Battle World is not an arena world. Battle World is just essentially if you took New York, pulled it out of the Earth, and then put it onto another Earth, that's what Battle World is. It's not like a big fighting arena. Like, it's just like all these different pieces of different universes, Earths were broken off and then stitched together to create like a patchwork world, if you will. So if it is your rumor Battle World New York, it would maybe be Tobey Maguire's New York, pieces of it, pieces of Andrew Garfield's New York, and pieces of MCU's New York, and maybe a third maybe Venom's New York if they want to tie in Venom. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I think that would be the way to keep it. This next rumor is a blend of multiversal elements and still be a street level story. That would maybe be how it is. It might be they say battle world, but more of a four or five New Yorks merged together into one New York, and they have to. How do we solve villains from different universes running around here? So like maybe the Magia or Hammerhead or somebody from different universes coming together. So that could be one thing. I don't want to skip over this. No Way Home writers Chris McKinnon and Eric Summers are writing the script, by the way. So for those who enjoy No Way Home, we will be getting the same writers. I feel like they understand Spider-Man, but also that kind of gives me the hint that maybe they are doing something multiversal, right? Because they did have to write for 3 Spider people in that movie. The other thing is, another note is we will see him team up with Venom, or at least a symbiote of Venom, which we saw at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, right? Would you want to see a black suit Spider-Man this soon in this capacity, Mike, or do you think we need to move it forward? Do you think it should be the start of the trilogy or a little later?
See, I'm at an impasse here because I really only own like one collectible comic book, and it's Secret Wars. I believe it's 8 that has the black suit Spider-Man on the front of it. And I don't know. I'm just not a huge collector at the moment. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind offloading this, and I feel like it'll go up in value as soon as that movie comes out. Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on eBay. Yeah. I'm trying to see what the sale prices are looking like. To answer your question, as long as it happens at some point.
I think to me, after playing recently Spider-Man 2, the video game, having Peter be prolonged with the symbiote more than just one movie would be a better evolution of the character, rather than like he's had it for half an hour and now he's mean and dancing down New York streets. He has to give it up. Yeah. That's not really much of of course it's evil in that situation, right?
Yeah. I'm curious if there's more of unique MCU take at the black suit and the symbiote, right? Mm-hmm. There's lots of Spider-Man media out there where he gets the symbiote suit on, and for the most part, kind of the same stuff always happen. He gets hyper aggressive, he gets more powerful, he starts to lose himself to it, and I'm not saying that's not an interesting story at all, but I feel like we've seen it a lot, right? We've seen it in Spider-Man 3. That movie made a lot of money. A lot of people went to see it. It was in the most recent Spider-Man video game, which was awesome. It's happened. I know it's happened in the Amazing Spider-Man, the 90s TV show. Yeah. I'm sure it's happened subsequently in every other animated Spider-Man TV show. So,
well, I would say one of the interesting takes of the Ultimate Venom, he was actually created by Eddie Brock's dad and Peter Parker's dad as a cancer cure. And that's how the suit became. It wasn't like completely them, but they were creating a cure for cancer with a symbiote rather than and it became the symbiote rather than normal stuff. And it's not an alien, right? It literally became like cognizant, and it was like, okay, well, like Spider-Man 2, heal the world. Like the way to heal the world was like kill all the bad stuff in it, I guess. So I think that would be more interesting than an alien.
Just curious if there's a unique take on it. Like if Spider-Man gets the black suit, like maybe he just doesn't turn super aggressive and lose himself. Is there just another way to take it or think about it? I would be curious to see what that is.
I say Peter Parker dance off. If it's multiversal, all 3 of them, they got to dance. The worst dancer, they're out. The best dancer gets a symbiote. Also to note on Spider-Man 4, it will film early 2025, most likely released between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. And this is your weekly reminder that Sony dictates release dates, not Disney or Marvel. So Disney and Bob Iger, despite the hit piece written on out for him this week, was on Variety or something, THR, whatever it was, they will, despite their mandate of less Marvel movies, they do not get a say when Spider-Man comes out. If they say we're only doing 3 Marvel movies and Sony says, okay, well, we're doing Spider-Man and makes it 4, that's not on them. They don't get to pick that. So that might be a year that Disney does 2 Marvel movies and then let them have the third one. So I know they recently took one off the schedule, so it might be for this one. Shifting gears, the other Spider-Man news that hit like a ton of bricks this week, which kind of came out to be true or not, is the rumor was the entire film for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse has been scrapped by Sony with a creative overhaul, pushing the film's release date back to at least 2027. And I had a lot of people reach out to me about this like right away because that's big news, right? Like Spider-Verse, obviously huge name, a lot of people love it. Chris Miller, one of the directors on there, along with Phil Lord, has since said that not directors, producers, that nothing has been scrapped and the reels are coming in nicely. And if you also check X, previously known as Twitter, the composer of the film has also said that specifically that nothing has been delayed and you shouldn't believe things you read on the internet. So it sounds like this is not true and this movie's still moving along, but I don't think we'll see it in 2025.
Yeah, I think that's the maybe the best takeaway from this is that it's being pushed back. Yeah. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that this movie was originally going to come out the year following
last March
through the Spider-Verse. Yeah, which is like wild. It's like, what are you talking about? There's no time to make another movie so quickly. So I'm glad they're really getting their time to muse on it and sit with it. And curious if timing wise, is it going to key into the MCU multiversal stuff in any way at all? Maybe not super narratively, but maybe there's a hint or two in there.
The multiverse crashing for sure would definitely see ripple effects, right? Even though the Spider-Verse has a different multiverse because of the web of whatever kind of thing, they're very different. But I put a note here that the Spider-Man 4 is probably going to come out 2026. Are we going to get Spider-Man 4 and a Spider-Verse movie in 2026? Probably not. So if it's going to be 2027, it's probably so they don't double dip with Spider-Man 4's box office, which Batman, I think DCEU is doing that with Batman. But the other thing is, there were a lot of reports of bad conditions for the animators on the first movie. When it came out, they were like, there's a lot of crunch. We were still editing things up until like the week before it released, all this other stuff. So I think some of if this was true, and I put this down here, that the animation crews were relieved that it was like because of the bad conditions in the last film, but I don't think it's really been scrapped, Mike. I think they may have had a change or two, but I don't think it's going to be huge. Like, throw everything out throw the baby out with the bathwater, start over, right? We're going from ground zero. So, I'm excited for Beyond the Spider-Verse. I think about this movie once every 2 weeks or so. How fun it was, the second one, and how I'd like to know kind of how it ends. Right, that movie left us on a big cliffhanger with that. Venom: The Last Dance has just been taking over our news feed the past couple weeks, and I wasn't gonna put this in here. There's a Venom 3, the final trailer dropped this week, and I was like, I saw it, I saw the title, I'm like, I'm not even gonna put it in our notes, it's not worth our time. We all know Venom 3 is coming, and then they throw in the character of Knull, the creator / God of Symbiotes, in this trailer, and I'm like, well, son of a bitch, now we gotta talk about this, because I did not expect them to bring this character into this movie, or this franchise as a whole. Even I thought they might save him for an MCU movie, which I might have a rumor theory on that to go through. But Mike, you said you've seen some stuff in your algorithm about this character. What are you feeling, or what have you heard or thought?
Yeah, well, I think the reason I know anything about Knull to begin with, and I've seen other people talking about this, relatively new character. People saying, is this the quickest a character has been invented and put on the big screen? So I feel like when a new character hits the scene and is at least halfway interesting, the comic book influencers spin up and start to drop in my feed. There's a guy on TikTok, I think his moniker is Sir Superhero. He does really, really great and in-depth explainer videos of just any topics. He might just be giving you the rundown of a history of a character or a storyline or maybe like a specific object in the or in the Marvel Comics universe, and he'll just like dive into it and tell you all about it. He's got a very good way of distilling the information. I believe he had a video out there about Knull that I saw. So clever, intriguing character, like very metal. Visually, the character is cool looking. He's always surrounded by black goo. There's always like a black goo throne that he's on, and then. I think the icing on the cake is usually there's like a sword involved too, like a very specific legendary sword.
The Necro sword, which is the sword from Thor 4.
Cool.
Remember Gore the God Butcher? He had the Necro sword in the MCU, which was the movie. Obviously, it was a letdown. They were like, oh, okay, because this is a sword. So like Knull was chosen by the Celestials to have all this power and stuff like that, and he uses a sword to actually kill Celestial. The Nowhere beheaded Celestial was beheaded by his black Necro sword in the comic books. We come to find out, but he's always he kind of someone was pointing out he looks like Dracula, right? He's got the long white hair, the red armored outfit, big red symbiote symbol across his chest, very visually in veins with Venom. People who like Venom probably like Knull. But I will say he's not the fastest creation to release in comic books that I know of. The Black Order, Thanos's like the Cull Obsidian, stuff like that, they were created in 2014 and landed with Infinity War in 2018. So Knull was created 2018-ish. So he's been about 6 years. So, but that just shows you the power of a good character, right? Good characters, memorable comic book characters can come into live action here, and we don't see a lot of them here. I just didn't know they even dropped his name. I didn't even know he was going to be in this. The rumor is Norman Reedus is playing the character as well.
Yeah, honestly, it's a good strategic addition, right? It's a good way to get a little bit of hype going for a movie that I don't really care about. To the fact if I go see it now, I can kind of see what they do with Knull. Knull is like such a I guess cosmic character that seems a little too. What do I want to say? He doesn't feel like he fits within the current version of the MCU. He just seems a little too out there at the moment. So it makes me go, yeah, go ahead. You can just burn him. Just burn him in Venom 3. I don't care. He could possibly come back around in the future. That's fine. So this feels like a good strategic move to kind of get butts in seats.
Yeah, so the rumor is, and this also came up after this trailer came out, so I don't know how much truth there is to it because most rumors come out before the revelation, is that Knull, Venom says, we have something he wants. Knull feels that Venom himself they're all hive mind, all these symbiotes, right? Has been through the multiverse and wants to get Venom to be like, all right, I want to go through the multiverse. How can I use you to get there? And could be, I doubt it, a villain in Spider-Man 4. Someone said that. I'm like, I don't believe you. But throwing it out there because I did hear it. But that makes sense that it would tie off of he can feel that you're different as Venom. You've been somewhere else. We want to. I'm gonna reabsorb you back into the hive mind and use what you know to get there, kind of thing, right? Which would be interesting. That'd be way more interesting than I thought this movie would get. I honestly had very little idea that the creator of symbiotes from space would be even coming to Earth. I don't know if it'll even come to Earth. We'll see. I also want to throw in this little tidbit here. People, we're diving into this real heavy this week. There are reshoots for Venom 3, The Last Dance, in Vegas currently going on here a month before this movie comes out, which usually means they're adding something, right? This late in the game, we're not changing something, we're adding something. And it's the same week that Tom Holland is filming A Secret Project. On the West Coast. Trailers have also only shown Eddie and Venom in Mexico and Las Vegas. Besides that, there were some behind-the-scenes photos of him filming in New York City directly. So, do you think Sony, in all of their wisdom, is now trying to tie Venom 3 into Spider-Man 4, now that there's a director and possibly a story in play already.
Yeah, I mean, is this
all in one
possibility?
week? All in 1 week is very is not coincidental. I feel to throw my tinfoil hat on.
I mean, like, I've lost the thread of where the symbiote does and doesn't reside. Right? He got blipped. No, he didn't get blipped. No, he did get blipped.
He wasn't blipped. No Way at the end of No Way Home, all the Spider-Man villains got brought into the MCU temporarily, and he was at the bar.
Oh yeah, and then that's kind of how some of the symbiote got left
on the bar
behind. The thing that's crazy to me is just like introducing the symbiote is like the easiest thing to do narratively. Mm-hmm. It just crashes on a meteor. You don't need any story behind it. Like they did it pretty well in Spider-Man 3. It was just like camera pans up in Central Park. Meteor falls. There's goo on it. Let's go. I guess the advantage of maybe trying to find a way to keep this specific version of the symbiote around is you could bring back the same voice actor and you could kind of have the same personalization of Venom around.
Tom Hardy's the voice actor.
Tom Hardy behind.
Tom Hardy's the voice actor for Venom.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he does the voice.
Somebody else did the big bad Venom voice.
No, he does the voice in the movies. But it does come with, I guess, I wouldn't say knowledge and history, but it is a more seasoned symbiote rather than a brand new symbiote when it finds him. Maybe that could be a little bonus, right? Rather than like, oh, it's a new person and just happens to land on Spider-Man, right? The chance, making it chance every time. This one just happens to feel the hive mind, and we hate Spider-Man. So I don't know. We'll see when that comes out. But like, Sony doing this trailer, revealing Knull, announcing a director for Spider-Man, and then doing reshoots with Tom Holland's doing reshoots. Tom Holland and Tom Hardy, goddamn, it's tough, are doing reshoots at the same time. My theory hat says they're trying to cook something here, and maybe they've figured out a way to bring Venom or the symbiote into the MCU here.
Are they gonna finally pay off that Michael Keaton Vulture post-credits scene?
I hope Morbius never comes up ever again, Mike. I hope we never have to deal with it because that's awful. And then I'm playing Marvel Snap, and the newest card in Marvel Snap this week is Madam Web. So I have to be reminded that we watched that movie in February of this year, and we're threatened with that. But Venom: The Last Dance is coming out October 25th, 2024. We are coming up on it. I'm pretty excited for that. I don't know what else really say, but if anyone else is interested, I think this movie and another movie we'll talk about in a little bit are coming out in October. So we're gonna have a of the two, between this and Joker, I'll just say it's Joker. I'd go see this over Joker in the theater, Mike. I don't really want to go to the theater to see Joker 2. I'd rather watch that at home, and I watch Venom in the theaters. But, gun to my head, gun to my balls, which one do I pick? It's Venom. Moving into the DC Universe proper, the Batman, Matt Reeves has said that he's confirmed that there's plans for a trilogy of the Batman films. In other news, water, wet. I feel like every director tries to make a trilogy of films, right? So,
yeah, I think he's. I don't know if this was a recent interview or just something that people have been digging back up, but he's kind of on the record of saying he's keeping this universe extremely grounded, not really fantastical in any way, which makes sense. You watch the first movie, you totally get it. So that feels kind of like trilogy. Wrap it up, tell that story. Because if this is something that spins off in a longer tail, you have to go fantastical. You're going to run out of, like, normal humanoid characters for Batman to fight. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't want another Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batman movies. I'm already bored of it, right? Like, Batman has more people than the Penguin or the Joker or the Riddler to fight. He's got more like Clayface or Man-Bat or obviously Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. They're fantastical characters. They've all been in the screen, but we've seen them. We're due for a new one, so I would love to see something new. Now, however, Batman 2 is I think someone said that it's likely to have a cold or winter theme. And it was like, oh, it's Mr. Freeze. I'm like, well, they probably just want a different like aura of Gotham, right? What we saw pretty much last time was a summer Gotham, so changing the season would work pretty well. But I do look forward to James Gunn's Batman universe where he has a son, and there's probably a lot more fantastical villains, like you mentioned, in that DC universe world. So we don't have to worry about having the same crime families over and over again for that. I also believe the Penguin's coming out this week, right? Or next week? I feel like it's going to hit HBO Max pretty soon. I saw some reviews.
Yeah, it's soon. Mm-hmm.
Rich, my wife asked me, she's like, you want to watch that? I'm like, I really don't want to. I'm not I'm not in the mood for like just dour, Soprano style shows in Gotham, because obviously Batman's there. Where's Batman? I don't know. We'll see. But trilogy of films, you're right. They're going to run out of regular people to put in jail for that. Moving on to Joker, Folie, Todd Phillips has actually said there's no plan for a third film here. I'm pretty sure he said there was no plan for a second film after he made the first one. So take this for what you will. And the news here is more that tracking numbers, pre-sale numbers for Joker 2 have it lower than The Flash and Shazam 2 from last year.
Yeah, and you informed me the other week that the budget for this one is exponentially larger than the first one. I mean, do I want all these movies to be good? Yes, we were just talking about the Batman as well. But it does kind of seem like the writing is on the wall that James Gunn and Peter Safran don't want all of these random DC projects out there in the universe. They want to bring everything into one timeline so they can kind of start doing the Marvel synergy trick. So if we know that Batman 3 from Matt Reeves probably going to be the last one, this probably going to be the last Joker, wrap these up with a nice bow, and then we'll be prepared for whatever this Gunn-Safran Batman fatherhood story is,
Yeah, I think we're going to get – it's going to take at least until we're in 2024 at the end of it. Like, it's going to be 2029 by the time we probably get Batman 3 at the rate they're moving. But, 5 years since the first Joker, I think it was, the audience who liked that and saw that, they don't want a musical movie. They're going to come in and not be really probably jive with this type of film. So I think that those pre-sales are also lower. So again, do we want movies to fail? Absolutely not. But it's interesting when movies that made the original ones made $1 billion and the sequel is like, we might be the worst release ever made. It's just interesting, right? Like Aquaman. Well, Aquaman 2 made a bunch of money overseas, but this is just kind of interesting to hear, because people do like the Joker and they do, the character and everything else. So I'm interested to see how this one plays out as we kind of get closer to the release next month. Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves, we learned was moving forward, I think, last year or so. And the producer has said the script is finished and he is, quote, too scared to read it. Cool. I don't know what this means. I enjoyed the first Constantine. I haven't watched it in forever. Years, even. So I felt like kind of maybe going back to it. Keanu Reeves, he's been doing stuff, voicing Shadow the Hedgehog and video games and other movies. I don't know, is this one of those movies that doesn't need to be made 20 plus years after the original again, kind of thing, right?
It doesn't. I mean, if it comes out, I'll gladly watch it, probably in the comfort of my own home. But if I was a Hollywood producer, I wouldn't put my own money into this. I wouldn't take this gamble. I mean, it's a niche little project, right? If I walked up to 10 random people, maybe one person will be aware of the Constantine movie.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, a lot
this
of
really
people have
kind
known
of,
about the show.
This feels like this really feels like the type of project that probably its best chance of getting made was when the streaming wars were at a fever pitch, and they just needed any sort of content greenlit and like, oh yeah, Constantine, let's just do that sequel. So I'll be surprised if this is a successful project.
Yeah, so the original one back in 2005 was made under $100 million, so anywhere between 70 and 100, and made 231 million at the box office. So, 3 times is pretty good. But do you get Keanu Reeves for that price these days? Right? Like, is this a passion project for Reeves where he's taking a lower budget? It's gonna be a lower budget movie, and they can really push that horror or not. I mean, I forgot Shia LaBeouf was in the first one. I literally forgot he was in there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if they could take a sort of like a Blumhouse approach where they get top tier talent for a low price, but they just get to participate in the the box office profit.
Yeah.
Keep the budget low and then just kind of see what happens. That would be more interesting to me. It almost kind of seems like what's happening with that next Hellboy movie that's coming out.
Yeah, which is out internationally this month, by the way, as well. So hopefully we get a release date in the U.S. soon. But yeah, I'm interested. But the first one, I don't think people were clamoring to watch it, but I was, I did enjoy it at the time. Keanu Reeves was untouchable after his Matrix movies, and I felt like it was a pretty good film. A fun film. It's not a good film. It's a fun film. There's a difference. Last bit of news here, the Lanterns information. We're in DCU proper. Josh Brolin has reportedly, since we said last week, turned down the Hal Jordan role in the series, and the reports are saying Ewan McGregor is next, and if he turns it down, then Chris Pine will be offered it, who recently played the love interest in Wonder Woman. I forget his name, actually.
Did somebody get like a leaked memo or an email forwarded to them that they weren't supposed to have? Like, that's quite the rumor chain of not only do we know who's up next, but we know who's third place.
Yeah, they had like five people, but 2 of them took themselves out, I guess. But Josh Brolin and then Ewan McGregor and Chris Pine. I'm like, I can't think of Chris Pine's character named Wonder Woman. But anyway, I don't know if they'd pull him into the DC again right away, which was interesting to me. I'm like, why would you do that? But I mean, as an actor, you're going to take any big budget role you can get, right? Like, you're not really worried about continuity at that point. You're just worried about working. But if neither of these agree to the role, that the reports are they have to go back to the drawing board at actors. But I don't think necessarily that takes a lot of people off the table. Ewan McGregor just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame this week, so his name has been popping up a lot.
Yeah. I feel like these 3 actors kind of bring a totally different characterization to any role that they would play, right? When I'm imagining Josh Brolin as Hal Jordan, I'm imagining like a gruff space cop that's been around a while, has lots of experience and knowledge, and is probably made like the straight guy in the kind of like dynamic duo situation, right?
Kind of like he's
Ewan McGregor.
Well, he's now like the Tommy Lee Jones character in No Country for Old Men, which Josh Brolin was the young guy back then, right? Like, it's kind of grown into that.
Yeah, and Ewan McGregor and Chris Pine. Like Chris Pine, I'm just imagining him in Star Trek. I like those movies and I like that character, so I'm leaning more Chris Pine myself, but it seems like they'll have to kind of maybe pivot the character a little bit depending on whoever ends up taking it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ewan McGregor would be interesting, but I think that's more of a he has played that mentor role in Star Wars already, right? Like I feel like we draw probably a lot of a connection between his Obi-Wan and Anakin kind of role he played in that movie. Chris Pine, I don't know. I can't take him seriously. I don't know what it is about him right now. So, well, he had that movie he had the long hair. What was that came out earlier this year? He had down to his back kind of hair.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was in something. I think it was more of an indie film. But anyway, I'm sure. We're obviously we don't know what the script is. We're not having them read anything or looking for the tone. So I'd be interested to see that, but we can't really make any decisions or any comments, so we know what they're looking for and how they delivered the roles along the way. So, be interested in more about that. Like I said, Green Lanterns is one of my favorite comic books from DC. I'm interested to see what they pull off. Mike, that's our show for this week. We spent a lot of time talking snacks and superheroes, but if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Oh, yeah, they can read my webcomics over at pickledcomics.com or liferewardsrisk.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram, Valdan87, Valdan. If people want to know about the show, where they can get all this good stuff, see our release schedules, all them good things, where can they get all the Superhero Slate goodies?
Oh, so easy to do. Head on over to superheroslate.com. Best place to find everything we're doing here at the show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you're listening to podcasts. We're there. Get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. Let us know what you're playing, what you're watching, what you're excited for. And we love our super fans of this show. So if you want to be a super fan of Superhero Slate, all you have to do is share this show with a friend, share this show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.